A lane change is a common autocross element course designers use to test your car control skills. It's the autocross equivalent of having to quickly avoid a hazard in your lane while driving on the highway. Lane changes can vary in appearance. The lane change design I've seen most often is made up of 3 sections with the middle section offset. Some have more cones than others. But a lane change can also look like this one, which is designed to be less visually confusing at speed. Attacking a lane change incorrectly can lead to losing time, hitting cones, or a DNF. This video provides tips to help you find speed and avoid penalties in a lane change. In order to get your Mustang through a lane change as fast as possible, you have to plan your attack and focus on fundamentals. Unlike an unexpected obstacle in your path on the highway, you know a lane change is coming. Walking the course will help you plan your attack. You can identify the cones you need to backside and get a good sense of how fast or slow the lane change is. You backside a cone by putting your rear quarter panel close to the cone you're turning past. Backsiding gives you the most amount of time to prepare for the next element, or in this case, the next section of the lane change. The important cone in each section is the last cone on the side you're turning toward. In this lane change, you want to backside the last cone on the left in section 1 and the last cone on the right in section 2. What you do in section 3 depends on the element after the lane change. If that element requires you to backside the last cone on the left in section 3, it can help to think of the lane change like a slalom in disguise. The distance between the cones you need to backside and how much the middle section is offset both affect the speed at which you can attack the lane change. More space between the important cones makes this lane change faster. The middle section being more offset from the other two makes this lane change slower. To be fast through a lane change, you need to run a smooth line that requires the least amount of steering input. Many drivers run a wide line. That line is slower because it adds distance and requires more steering input. And in a fast lane change, making a big steering input at speed can lead to a spin. Novices tend to have the most trouble in section 1. Focusing on your fundamentals in the first part of a lane change is critical. If you need to use the brakes to slow down to backside the important cone in section 1, brake before initiating your turn. Braking and turning at the same time can lead to understeer. Turning too early will make you hit the cone you want to backside. Making a mistake in section 1 can also cost you in section 2 or 3. You don't want to be late turning past the important cone in section 1. If you're a little late, you can make a correction to avoid a penalty, but that correction requires a sharper, slower turn. If you don't make a correction, you could end up hitting a cone in section 3. If you're really late, you can hit a cone in section 2 or DNF by missing the entry into section 2. Looking ahead is another fundamental autocross skill that can help you get through a lane change faster. I've seen lots of novices DNF by completely missing section 2 and driving straight from section 1 to section 3. You should be looking far enough ahead to see the cones you need to backside in the lane change before you get to the lane change. Looking ahead means scanning, not fixating on one cone. Looking ahead will let you know if the element after the lane change is fast or slow. If you're going from a fast lane change to a faster element, you can start accelerating ahead of Section 3. If the element after the lane change is slower, looking ahead will prepare you to decelerate ahead of that element. It's not hard to lose time, hit cones, or DNF in a lane change. But it's easy to find speed if you plan your attack and focus on your fundamentals. If the autocross course at your next event leads you into a lane change, the tips in this video will help you get through it faster.